Another cracking video with lots of bits going on. Not a huge amount of detail on the engine build as before, but some little bits and pieces just to keep you in touch with what I'm up to. So let's see what I'll be doing. Come on now. You use the push rod tool. You get the length, so you set this up in accordance with the manual, with the valve set in its relaxed position, so fully closed, and you adjust it so you've got just making contact, and then that's the length you use to make up the push rod to one side, and you repeat the same lovely little task to do the push rods on the other side. And then we assemble it. We've got put these different nuts on to the normal nuts to go with the valve covers themselves. I've turned the engine over a few times just to make sure that the valves are all seated, all the push rods are seated, and I'm actually going to jump forward in the instructions to the point of adjusting the basic valve clearances, so I can put the covers on just to stop dirt and debris from jumping into the engine. I think it's just seems like a sensible thing to do at the moment. Well, there are the covers on. I've adjusted the valve clearances, torqued it all as per the book at 6 thou, and got these. The bolts actually bottom out. I had to shorten them very slightly to get what I consider a comfortable crush on the cork gasket, and if that's not enough pressure, I can add a washer, a thin washer on those, just to put a little bit more pressure on. I prefer it that way. It's actually tight so that they won't come undone. See that? I'll drill the bolts and wire lock them. I'm not happy to have unwire locked bolts which aren't nipped up, sitting out in the breeze and losing a rocker cover. That would be a little bit of a disaster, really, wouldn't it? Okay, I'm fitting the mini sump. So the mini sump does away with the strainer like that. You don't use that a lot. You have this little setup with a pressure relief, a finer mesh screen is being used, and it says in the instructions you use this type of seal for the top and not that one, which I find a little bit strange because I think that would fit better on the bottom there, but hey ho, we'll do as the instructions say and get this fitted. So I only need to use the one gasket, and because I've not got a oil separator, I'll put the bung in the side there, and I'm using the magnetic sump plug which was supplied with the aircraft kit rather than the plain one that came with the mini sump kit. Well, there's the mini sump fitted. Now the next stage is to fit the oil pump. Well, there's the oil pump fitted. This is the oil pump with the ports for the oil cooler to go onto. So there we go. You must make sure you get the orientation right in accordance with the instructions. So there we go. That went very easily. Putting quite a bit of tension in just to get the fully seated, but definitely an easy method. Having a bolt going through, pulling it with a socket as per the instructions did the job just nicely. So now we're into some other little cover plates and bits and pieces to go on the engine. Right then, so I've got lots of little red bits stuck over the engine. Dipstick, breather that'll have a pipe coming off it with kinks in it and things like that for the crankcase breathing. The fuel pump blanking plate, the filler cap for the oil, and this piece, which is the oil cooler bypass plate, which you wouldn't use if you're having a top mounted, but I've got a bottom mounted oil cooler. So this plate goes on here, and I've got the oil pressure sender attached to it. This comes up later in the manual, so it's a little bit out of order, but I didn't want to leave the holes gaping open for a long period of time. Effectively it's in the section where it talks about the bottom mounted oil cooler. So one bit I don't think I've got one, it doesn't say it's included, is a little blanking plug to go in here for oil, which would be an oil pressure position. You have a blanking plug in there, and I haven't got the plate across here in yet, because that one has got to I've got to drill that to M16 for the oil temperature sender, because we can't use the one in the bottom of the sump, it doesn't go in there. That's what they tell us not to do, so I'm following the instructions. So this will be drilled centrally, and I'll tap that. Okay, so another stage sorted out. The back plate is on with the magnetos, the primary magnetos in position, with a 10 thou clearance done with a shim supplied. It's just a piece of thin steel. Just a little tip which I've just including here is I put tape over the magnets, because any fine metal that can jump from anywhere to anywhere, especially as you actually fit the flywheel to the engine, will jump onto those magnets. So yeah, although I keep the area as clean as I possibly can, there are still some little iron filings which have managed to jump there from somewhere. I haven't got a clue where, but you don't want them there, so the tape over. Now what I do is I just put another piece of tape over the top of that to trap them, and then pull the masking tape off, and that will get rid of any of the iron filings which would otherwise be stuck to my magnets. I did it to the outside of the flywheel as well, so I didn't get any on that. Yeah, there we go. So there's the trigger plate installation in, all sorted out nicely. We're getting there. It does say that the next step is putting the spark plugs in, but I'm not going to put spark plugs in until right near the end, because try and keep the engine as safe as I can. There's the alternator and the secondary ignition trigger system in place. All looking very neat and tidy. All the clearances checked. Looks good. Well, there's the basic engine. Starter motors fitted. Inlet elbows are fitted, ready to take on the inlet manifold, which I'll do when I lift the engine up. I've hung the engine. I put the inlet manifolds on beforehand, and then we've got it all bolted up. This is temporary. I remind everybody, temporary. I've yet to put in the fireproofing between the aluminium firewall bits and everything else. All this is about getting everything aligned for where coils have got to go, regulators, holes drilled through for throttle cables and various other bits and pieces. So this is a temporary fit. Okay, so what have I done? Well, I have fitted the cylinder head temperature probes. I had drilled, I don't know if I actually videoed it or told you about it, but I had drilled the cylinder head. The instructions sort of go, put one near the spark plug for the cylinder you want to take the temperature from. Well, I'm only using 2 probes, so what I've done is, I don't know if it shows very well because the cable might be in the way. There's a web here between the 2 cylinders, and I've gone as low down in that web as I can to get a screw in. and it's picking up the heat, should be from both the both cylinders. As I said, I've got as low down there as I possibly can, and it's as close to a cylinder as it could be, where they had it being drilled into somewhere like that near the spark plug. The other thing I've done is I've just made up two of these little leads for the magnetrons, magneto systems. As per the instructions, I've used a spade connector going onto there. They say you could use one of the mounting bolts, but I've used that, so that clips onto one of those. It goes up, and they say to a suitable earth point. So with a vacuum cleaner running, hence I didn't show it, because I can't hold a camera, operate a drill and have a vacuum cleaner, or the noise would have been terrible anyway. All I did was I drilled a 3.3mm hole through here and tapped it out to 4mm and put a 4mm screw in, so it's tapped into things. I've done the same below. I'll sort of show you where it is below, and then I've just crimped an eye end on, and that's onto some 20 gauge cable. Used the black code because it's an earthing system. There we go. It's not particularly complicated. I will possibly show if people want, so put it in the comments if you want me to show how I go about the crimping. I use non-insulated type terminals. I don't like the ones with the plastic on per se. I use non-insulated and crimp, and then in this case, because I didn't want to use one of my insulators that goes over because it would be cut to allow for this to be used in a non-standard way, I've just put heat shrink in, and on an eye end like this I just put heat shrink on there over the joint. So that's the top end. A quick little squeeze. You can see the one there for the bottom end where I drilled through the bottom of the block for that. And zooming out, I've got the aero injector, float chamberless carburetor, for want of a better sort of description, really, is just in place there, and that's going to allow me. The whole point of really putting the engine on is for this little lot. It'll allow me to work out exactly where I'm going to go through the firewall for the mixture control and the throttle control. I've drilled 2 holes in the firewall, allowing the cable to have a bit of a fair curve going through it for both the throttle and the mixture. These holes here it'll be cut into have a clearance around the cable when I get the aluminium off. Again, hence temporary fitting of engine, and I will show you no doubt how to make up a gland seal to go around, fireproof gland seal to go around those cables, so that we maintain the firewall fireproofing and support the cables as they come through the actual firewall itself in a way with a rubber glanding, so that we don't have it. If we had it clipped it like this aluminium would chafe through, might go between the coils and bind the controls. I'd like it if I had a slightly wider radius, but I can't really make it much wider than that. Well, that's all, folks. Almost got a power plant, not far to go, so I'll be doing a chunk more on it probably in the next video, and hopefully getting to some other little wiggly bits as well, possibly. We'll see, won't we? So catch you in the next one. Look after yourselves and keep well. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.